Up for 2 decades, the Mira Awards, Indiana's largest and longest running technology awards program, has honored the state's best in technology and innovation. TechPoint CEO Michael Angelier is here with highlights from this year's event. It celebrated 14 standouts, including Scale Up of the Year, Viral Launch. Plus, innovative neurological devices. IND has created an affordable medical device that treats anxiety, insomnia, and depression without using drugs. Their flagship product, Cervella, earned the Innovation of the Year award. And IvyWorks and Indie Women in Tech, creating unique opportunities and important support for female Ivy Tech students pursuing careers in information technology. Leading the way is director Ariel Crowley, this year's Tech Educator of the Year. Details on those stories and much more ahead on this edition of Inside Indiana Business.
Stand by for Top of Show with music full. Stand by D1 Sound, sponsored open with music. Stand by camera 3 with Gary. We're out in 5, 4, 3, 2, dissolve to Gary.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. Indiana's tech initiative, TechPoint, honored the best in Indiana technology and innovation at its 20th annual Mira Awards. That annual gala took place in front of a sold-out, packed crowd of 1,400 attendees, the largest total in the program's history. The honorees came from a list of more than 100 companies, organizations, and individual nominees. Over the next 30 minutes, we will feature several of the winners. We're starting with Viral Launch. Chief Executive Officer Casey Goss won the Rising Entrepreneur Award at this year's event, while the creative and consulting services provider earned Scale Up of the Year honors.
It's a major tailwind for us. So if you look at the e-commerce space overall, almost 50% of it is in Amazon's hands, where second place is eBay with just 6-something%. So Amazon's growth has been significant. The amount of market share that Amazon is taking for e-commerce has just been a major tailwind for us.
Mitch, as you talk about growth at Viral Launch, it's phenomenal, and I know you've got a commitment to 250 jobs by the end of 2021. That's an aggressive plan.
Yeah, it is. We feel pretty good about it, and kind of echoing what Casey was saying about the marketplace, we feel like the company's in a great position right now to take advantage of what's going on in the Amazon marketplace. Really, in addition to not just being 50% of the overall market, what they're doing in terms of advertising is also a tailwind for us, because our technology actually helps enable the brands that we serve better promote the listing that they have and better advertise it.
And everybody talks about talent. In addition to entrepreneurial folks like Casey, it's the leadership team that has been put together, again, from right here in Central Indiana.
Some of us have been here before with other companies, and it's pretty cool, I think, what's going on here in, not just the state, but even specifically Indianapolis, and our ability to get talent and retain that talent, incredibly important. And I think all the things that TechPoint has done has really helped enable companies like Viral Launch and so many others to be successful.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about your outlook, not only for Viral Launch, but for the tech growth in Central Indiana and around the state. You bullish on where Indiana is, but where Indiana can be in a few years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's interesting because last year we had a very small capital raise, and this year we're going through another capital raise to continue to fuel our growth. And just talking to all of the venture capitalists that are out there, whether the West Coast or the East Coast or in the Midwest now, there's so much interest in what's going on in the Midwest. And a couple of the cities they talk about the most are like Indianapolis, Columbus, Cincinnati. But Indy itself, I think, has something really special going on right now.
TechPoint CEO Michael Angelier joins me now, and we'll offer perspective on throughout this first half hour of the show and some of the winners from that big evening for tech. Mike is always welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Let's start out with the Scale Up of the Year Viral Launch. What a story that company is, and then the co-founder Casey Goss, a big Rising Star winner as well.
Indeed, Casey's that kind of prototypical startup entrepreneur story. He was a college student at Indiana Wesleyan, had the inspiration for this idea. He dropped out, taught himself how to code, started this company, bootstrapped it up until really the course of the past year, and then had a breakout 2018 where they bolstered the leadership team, like what you highlighted in the video, and they grew revenue by triple digits. They doubled the workforce from 30 to 66 over the course of that year, just for a young company. And now they've got 8,000 brands and 40,000 products that are on their platform. And as they look ahead, they recently had a jobs announcement that they were going to hire 250 people over the course of the next few years. So it's a really, really good story.
And a great example of a startup that is really generating job commitments and impacting the economy.
Indeed. Yeah, I think these kind of breakout scale-up stories we just need more and more of these, and we're in a position of strength right now where these companies can scale. You have kind of established leadership like Mitch that can drop in to help bolster this team and help to lead it to the next level. Give
us your reaction to the event itself. Amazing crowd, amazing evening. It keeps getting bigger every year.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's the Oscars of tech in Indiana, and you walk in and it's the who's who of the tech community that's all present there. As you spotlighted, 1,400 people in attendance, sold out a month ahead of time. So it is a really, really fun event, and it's a great way for us to showcase what's going on all across the tech spectrum here in the state.
Sit right there. We're going to keep you for the whole half hour with more commentary. Mike, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Gary.
Well, coming up, this year's Mira Awards Innovation of the Year winner is Innovative Neurological Devices. Now, they've come up with a unique way to treat anxiety, insomnia, depression without medication. Instead, patients use headphones. Coming up, details on how it all works. Well, Carmel-based Innovative Neurological Devices designs and manufactures medical devices, and its flagship product, Cervella, is a non-drug treatment for conditions like anxiety, insomnia, and depression. CEO Bart Wachlevic explains how headphones seamlessly integrate treatment electrodes, allowing patients to receive treatment anywhere at any time.
The traditional treatment for treating these disorders, anxiety, depression, and insomnia, have been antidepressants, commonly known as SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Those are the drugs many of you heard about, like Zoloft and Prozac, but unfortunately for a lot of people they have severe contraindications. So we've embarked on a non-drug approach to it, and the product Cervella that we received FDA clearance for in March treats it with electrical stimulation through the patient's brain.
Okay, talk about Cervella. And again, you got the received the FDA clearance there, a big step. Talk about the product.
Type of the device that we will soon manufacture is called cranial electrotherapy stimulator. And they've been around actually for a number of years. But what we try to do is we try to make the technology more user-friendly. Typically, when you're using the stimulator, you have to wear the electrodes on the forehead, on the temples, or on the mastoid area and behind the ears or earlobes. Unfortunately, as you can imagine, a lot of people that have anxiety disorders or depression, they will not want to use a device like that in public where those type of scenarios occur, anxiety, for instance, attacks. So what we've done is we've designed a device that looks like a pair of ordinary over-ear headphones, and we've integrated the electrodes into the ear cushions of the headphones. So for all intents and purposes, the onlookers think that person's just listening to some music, because they are actually a fully functional Bluetooth noise-canceling headphones. So the patient can listen to music, but also is receiving a medical treatment at the same time. And as you can imagine, again, the attacks occur often outside of the comfort of the home, so now the patients can use the treatment anywhere.
What's the potential that you see for this product?
It is worldwide. We actually launched the product just last month at the Anxiety and Depression Conference in Chicago. And since launching the product, we've received thousands of inquiries and pre-orders already for a product that we actually haven't yet started manufacturing and selling. I think there's going to be a huge demand for this type of a non-drug treatment.
Fascinating story, Bart, a really interesting entrepreneur. And Mike, as we hear so much about the need to get away from dependence on medications, and at the same time, conditions like anxiety, depression are on the rise. Here's innovation created right here in Indiana that looks to address it.
Yeah, not only is the approach novel and really important because of what it treats and how it treats it, but also that it's discreet, right? It kind of, it honors the person and how they want to be treated, and knowing that they need to be treated, they need to have this treatment in public a lot of times. The other really neat part of the story is it's a crossover story between tech and some really interesting tech applications that are enabling this new innovation. But it's at the intersection of med device, which has a heritage in Indiana, and also manufacturing. As he said, manufacturing this product is going to be the next big hurdle. But they're over that initial big hurdle of FDA clearance, which is a really big deal.
That is. Carmel-based company looks to be manufacturing soon. Also, as the tech community in Indiana has grown and matured, there really is an increased awareness of the impact of once overlooked tech-enabled businesses. Indiana manufactures and a multitude of other non-tech core businesses where innovation is very powerful. Columbus-based Cummins, Indianapolis-based Raytheon are developing and exporting new technological advances all over the world. They were recognized for their efforts at this year's Mira Awards. Cummins has more than 1,500 tech-skilled employees, represents one of the largest global tech operations headquartered in the state. Cummins' list of 2018 tech-related advancements alone, resulting from R&D investments of more than $1.3 billion over 2 years, includes several Internet of Things, IoT, applications. And last year, Raytheon Indianapolis made significant investments into developing what's known as topography optimization, design, and printing services. It allows its team to deliver cutting-edge solutions efficiently at scale, delivering previously unconsidered optimized designs. TechPoint CEO Mike Langelier, it's amazing how many tech-enabled companies there are. Those are just two.
Yeah, we so often think about the stories like Viral Launch, right? And 82% of the nominees this year have been in existence 10 years or less. And the vast majority of the venture-funded companies that get funded here in the state are tech companies. But this intersection is happening, whether you call it the fourth industrial revolution or the third wave. It's happening, and it's where tech is intersecting all of these other companies. And Cummins and Raytheon and Geico and a whole list of others are perfect examples of where that's happening. They're becoming large tech employers. Tech is becoming an increasingly large part of their products and their services. Cummins working on a self-healing engine, and you've got so many interesting things that are happening. Raytheon cutting down using 3D printing to cut down on the weight and the cost of satellites that they're sending up into space. So some really cool things that, again, at the intersection of tech and other industries.
Absolutely. And Geico way into artificial intelligence and other things like that as well. Well, coming up next, this year's new tech product of the year has its roots at the University of Notre Dame and with the United States military as well. Fascinating story. Find out more about how SymbaChain says it's revolutionizing the consumer end of technology. South Bend-based SymbaChain, a cloud-based blockchain as a service platform, enables users to implement dApps or decentralized applications. SymbaChain was originally formed to build a secure and unhackable messaging and transaction solution for the U.S. Department of Defense. The Mira Awards judges selected SymbaChain as Tech Product of the Year because it solves an increasingly important global problem while reducing something incredibly complex to implement down to just 4 simplified steps.
It's like a WordPress for blockchain, so if anybody wants to come on and develop a distributed application, they can come on our platform and deploy it without having to know any type of coding whatsoever.
Okay. And Ian, how did it come about? Because I think that's an interesting story.
I'm a professor at Notre Dame, and I had a couple of programmers look at blockchain, look at Ethereum network, and I said, go and figure it out. It took them about a month. A cool idea for a company is take that month and make it 10 minutes. Yeah. And that's what I think we've done.
Great. Well, talk about the process and getting to that point, what that ride has been like.
We started off with a grant with DARPA, which is a defense agency that does most of the skunk works for the Army. And then we've just won several other grants beyond that, small business innovation research grants, raised a pre-seed round already led by Elevate Ventures, and are continue to scale the company now.
Ian, as you look at this process in growing a company like this in Indiana, what's that process been like?
So we've been out of Notre Dame, and we've got an office at Idea Center. We've been kind of recruiting there, but we've also had distributed help.
Well, how about, you mentioned Notre Dame, how about Notre Dame's involvement and engagement in technology?
They're cultivating an amazing culture there. for sort of like growing companies, you know, encouraging innovation, encouraging growth of that innovation.
Joel, you mentioned defense contracts. Talk about some of those big deals you have out there.
Yeah, so it's not traditional even for Indiana to win some of these larger defense contracts, and sometimes it's in manufacturing for the most part. So being in software and development, it's very interesting. So what we've done is we've actually gone out and won some sole solicited non-compete contracts, and those have come in the form of basically a phase 3 of our initial work that we did with DARPA. So it's been very exciting. So it's multiple agencies, not just Navy, Army, but also Air Force.
So Mike, blockchain and cybersecurity, two buzzwords we hear a lot about.
Yeah, I love multiple things about this story. One of them is this is a really hot area, important area that we critically need solutions for. Gartner says this is a market segment that is going to top $124 billion. So it's great to have a company here that's playing in that space. The other part that I love about this story is that it kind of daisy chains together so many ecosystem players, right? You've got a DARPA grant that in partnership with Notre Dame leads to the formation of this technology and company that then receives Elevate funding to help get it going and off the ground, that then receives a Mira Award. It's just an awesome story about how the whole chain can work and why these platforms exist. And then I think the other aspect of this is that this is this blockchain technology, is one that's going to attract interest from all over the country, all around the world, because this is such a hot topic.
And it's another example of technology and innovation is statewide, not just here in Central Indiana.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. This is, based because of its proximity to Notre Dame, based in South Bend. A study we did a couple years ago. A lot of people don't realize half of the IT workforce in the state is actually outside of Central Indiana. So there is a lot of presence here, and Notre Dame's doing some remarkable things, as I said, about creating a culture and putting their resources in place with the Idea Center and the work that Brian Ritchie and team are doing up there.
Very good. Well, coming up next, Ariel Crowley. She is a dedicated leader, a mentor, an advocate for the Ivy Works program at Ivy Tech Community College. It is a unique partnership with Indy Women in Tech. Learn how this Tech Educator of the Year forges relationships with students and companies and is having a real impact. Well, as director of Ivy Works at Ivy Tech Community College, Ariel Crowley has demonstrated an uncanny ability to provide students the support they need to first earn a degree or workforce credential and then to build a career in one of Indiana's fastest growing fields. Her dedication and personal sacrifice, all done in service to the students, earned her Tech Educator of the Year.
Ivy Works is a program for female Ivy Tech students who are looking to pursue a degree certificate or technical certificate in information technology. Our program, I say, is a perfect marriage between Ivy Tech Community College and Indy Women in Tech. And what we do is help support those women in their academic pursuits at Ivy Tech. While they're doing that, we also give financial assistance, transportation assistance, child care. We pretty much cover all wraparound support to make sure the ladies are able to persist. And then we also add professional development. So our goal is when the ladies are walking across the stage with their cap and gown, hopefully that Monday they're walking into a job into one of the tech industries here.
Yeah, and I think the important piece is the academic support is really almost secondary to all the support services, right? Talk about how those, how you administer, how you give those services and the difference that they can make.
So we give those items by actually going to the tech company and seeing what are you looking for, what kind of items or soft skills do you need in some of your open positions, and then we actually reach out to those companies as well to help us out. So we do mock interviews where we might have HR from maybe TechPoint or different organizations come out and give our ladies strong but good feedback so that they know exactly where they need to be and exactly where they need to work on.
Do you see opportunity for growth?
Of course, as much as the tech workforce is growing here in Indiana, we definitely see opportunity to get more women. So we're hoping with more additional funding that we'll be able to open it up to more women and open up more women who can enter in the tech workforce and help reduce that gender gap here in Indiana.
Mike, Ariel Crowley is committed. She's passionate about what she does. A lot of competition for this award, and I think a very deserving winner.
Yeah, it is a rigorous judging process. 52 volunteer judges put in 850 hours to review and screen every application, and in-person interviews for over 100 of them. So a big deal for all these winners, and Ariel included. Ariel's story is so amazing because she rises above the call of just a job. I mean, this is really a passion for her, and she embraces that this is a key gateway for individuals that just need a shot to be able to get into the workforce. And this mission of making tech accessible to women and people of all demographic backgrounds is critically important, and she's doing just a wonderful job to make it happen.
Big takeaways. Another theme I know as we were talking off camera, there's so much excitement and momentum, and you got this feeling that there's a lot of people really want to think big and think outside of the state.
Yeah, in the lead up to Mira, it's about Indiana companies, right? And so it's a focus on a lot of times companies inside the state, but we're at this place of bullishness now and opportunity where we're looking outside the state, and there's a sense that now's our time. Recently, LinkedIn and Zillow did an analysis looking at the locations, what they call the sweet spots where job opportunity and housing affordability intersect. Indianapolis ranked #1. And this is at a time when you look at the places like the Bay Area and Seattle, Austin, New York City, Washington, D.C., Chicago, et cetera, there's a lot of pain for companies and for people that are living there. I think the opportunity for all of us as Hoosiers is to be bold evangelists now. We all know people that we went to school with, grew up with, who are living outside the state. Now's the time to bring them back and to be really talking really aggressively. And that's a campaign that we launched at the Mira Awards, actually at techpoint.org/here, where people can tell us, nominate those people for an event that we're going to have in the fall.
Great event once again, Mike. Congratulations on Super Mira Awards. We appreciate the partnership as well and look forward to what's next.
Thanks for being part of it, Gary.
All right. Well, next, one of the biggest challenges for retailers, how to drive people from their desktops and mobile devices into their stores. Dr. K is here to explain how a company is really closing the loop in that effort. And in our Business of Health segment, we revisit Indiana's On Target Health. It's a company gaining traction for its success in helping to create healthier workplaces. We'll explain how the company is helping employers assist their workers in losing weight. Stay with us.
Stand by D1 Sound, sponsored open with music. Stand by camera 3 with Gary. We're out in 5, 4, 3, 2, dissolve, cue Gary.
Well, Indianapolis-based Peak 15 Marketing is a digital marketing agency that is built around a local and mobile-first digital strategy, driving people from online to in stores. For more on how the agency is helping clients digitally own their neighborhood, let's turn it over to Dr. K. Take it away.
Thanks so much, Gary. This is kind of interesting innovation because it's a corporate innovation, which is kind of nice to explore. So I'm welcoming Andrew Vitale, who is the partner and digital marketing lead at Peak 15 Marketing. So welcome to the show, Andrew.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So tell the audience, what is Peak 15 Marketing? What's it trying to do?
That's a great question. Peak 15 Marketing, as Gary explained, is actually a digital marketing agency that we founded about 2 years ago in Fishers. It is focused on local and mobile first. And we work with proprietary technology that we built to target consumers on Facebook and Instagram with offers and incentives.
Okay, great. That's great. And I know you've got some partners, too, involved in this, right?
We do. It's myself, and then Jim Brantley, Chuck East, and then we just added Curtis White to our digital team, and we have a great sales and support staff.
Sounds like a good team. Now, you've come up with this new innovation called Close the Loop. Can you kind of tell us what that is?
So Close the Loop is a way for us to really kind of bridge that digital divide between tracking what you're doing from an online marketing standpoint to what happens in store and somebody coming in and actually being a customer.
Okay.
So we actually have a technology that we sort of flip the script on how we're doing tracking, and it allows when a consumer comes into the store and they show their phone, to show an offer.
Right.
And we actually pick up the signal right away and then have real-time reporting so the business knows, did somebody bring an offer in? And it's a part of our overall social package.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So where did this idea for this concept come from?
So, we have been working with probably nearly 200 businesses over the last 2 years, all around Indiana. So we've been working with companies like IHOP and Dairy Queen, Ball State, IUPUI. And actually, we launched it at the end of last year with IUPUI.
Okay.
And they were able to actually, for the first time, understand for a men's basketball game, is the consumer, is somebody that's coming, showing an offer at the box office so they could actually see what is going on and the redemption of that offer.
Interesting, interesting. So what do you see as the market? Now, you mentioned a couple of clients you're working with already, but what's the market for this idea of close the loop?
That's a great question. So we work with and focus on the business owner of a single or multiple franchise, kind of like we talked about with IHOP or Dairy Queen. It's really events driven. Any place that there is a brick and mortar location and you're spending digital dollars and you want to understand the attribution to that. Essentially place accountability on the dollars that you're spending digitally into a physical marketplace. What did I get out of my campaign? And then should I continue to do it?
So makes sense, makes sense. It's as an internally created innovation, okay?
True.
How will this enhance Peak 15 marketing, do you think?
So it's a great question. We really feel like this is a differentiator. We've rolled out with our Facebook and Instagram program that targets a lot of small business owners, restaurants, entertainment places, automotive, home services, and then we continue to enhance. So there is not a technology that really exists for this type of tracking. We're geofencing each location instantly and getting a real-time report. So it ends up being a differentiator that we can speak to businesses for them to understand where they're spending money.
Excellent. So what are some future plans for Close the Loop and Peak Marketing? What do you see in the future here now?
So we're going to continue to push out. We're in 5 Midwestern states right now. We've continued to expand throughout the Midwest. We want to go nationwide with what we're doing.
Great.
We continue to add partners to that. Not only on the client level, but somebody like Valpak has kind of come along to understand what is going on so they can start tracking their coupon usage for everything that they mail out.
Boy, that's great. Well, as I do on each and every show, Andrew, I try to give some prescriptions, Dr. K's prescriptions, to help you. And so I've come up with what I call the 3 nevers for growing innovative firms, and you're more of an innovation inside of a firm. But first one was never assume the adoption by your current customer base. You can't just assume because, Peak 15's got these customers, they're just going to, keep jumping in on stuff. The second one is never believe you're ahead of the competition because as you know, I think you know this from your experiences, the minute you do think that, competition's right on your tail,
Oh, yeah.
And the third one is never think that you have all the answers. In other words, seek out that continuous customer feedback. So in case you have to pivot or make some moves, you can because you're getting the latest information from your current customers.
Well, thank you very much.
So I hope those help.
Yeah, no, those are great. I appreciate it.
So where can our audience find you?
So actually, you can find us at peakxvmarketing.com, and the XV is 15.
In the Roman numerals, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic. Well, we wish you all the best, Andrew.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
There you have it, Gary. A pretty interesting digital innovation inside of Peak 15 Marketing that I think is going to make real impact right here in Indiana. Back to you, Gary.
All right, Dr. K, thank you. Well, a recent study shows Indiana's obesity epidemic cost the state more than $8 billion in 2017, and that economic burden weighs heavily on employers. A small company in Indianapolis is seeing so much success on the scales, the Indiana Chamber selected it to lead the charge as companies battle obesity. Business of Health reporter Kylie Valletta has more. Kylie.
Thank you very much, Gary. Indianapolis-based On Target Health is partnering with the Chamber's Wellness Council of Indiana to help achieve its Vision 2025 plan. A key goal is to drive down Indiana's obesity rates to build healthier Hoosiers and improve bottom lines for employers. On Target Health's resume includes 12,000 pounds of fatty tissue lost through its work with employers. Here to tell us more is On Target Health co-founder and Chief Executive Officer Todd Fouché, and he brought along an employer success story, Indianapolis Airport Authority, and Rachel Stevens is Senior Director of Human Resources. Thank you both for being here.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Well, Todd, first of all, congratulations on the new partnership.
Yes, it's a great partnership. We feel very fortunate to be partnering with the Wellness Council.
There are a lot of options out there for employers who want to help their employees lose weight. But you say your program is unique because it focuses on a person's physiology. Explain what that means.
When we take a physiology approach, we're measuring a person's body composition, how much of their total scale weight is coming from fatty tissue, water, or muscle. We also measure their metabolism, which will vary for every single person. Those two measurements will help us identify the caloric intake for each person to help get their bodies to attack fatty tissue and improve health outcomes.
So really almost a different program for each person.
It's designed for each person.
And you've worked with a long list of Indiana employers, Wayne Township Schools, Hillenbrand, of course, the Indianapolis Airport Authority. So Rachel, before we talk about what this has meant for your individual employees, tell us how this program has helped your organization as a whole, big picture perspective.
Sure, Kylie. I'm a research geek. I love to read, and study after study after study shows us that healthier employees are happier and more productive employees. So not only does it benefit our bottom line specifically, but it also is helpful to those employees with their work and in their personal lives, which is exactly what we want to do at the Indianapolis Airport. We want to make sure our employees are happy and healthy so they can be more productive at home and at work.
And you have some good numbers to show that on a big picture
incredible
perspective.
numbers.
Yeah.
So we've been working with Todd's group for the last year. We have just about 70 employees in the program, and collectively they've lost about 350 fatty pounds, specifically fatty pounds. And it's just incredible. We've got employees that have gone off medications and reversed trends getting into obesity-related medical conditions. And so it's all good news for us.
And I'm sure you work with some of these people one-on-one. Are they
Absolutely.
excited? What do you hear from them?
I have employees who come into my office on a regular basis who are just thanking me all the time for bringing this organization to the IAA because it is getting them to a healthier place in their life. Many of them have given up medications that are costing them money out of their own pocket. And for them, that's just a big win-win for everybody.
And one stat from Alliance for a Healthier Indiana says obese employees per 100 generate more than $51,000 in medical claims each year, compared to only $7,500 for healthy weight workers. So, Todd, why should employers take action and maybe think outside the box in the way that they do it?
Using those numbers alone, if an employer engages, as the airport authority has, in a program that can reduce their medical expenses by those significant dollars, but prediabetes, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, musculoskeletal issues, acid reflux, sleep apnea, all of these issues are very much related to too much fatty tissue in the body. So to help educate employees and their families on how to get their bodies to attack and reduce fatty tissue generates the return, the engagement, and the improved outcomes that the employers are looking for.
And just a few seconds left, but speaking of success stories, you're an entrepreneur. You started On Target just 5 years ago. You have doubled your revenue every year, so you're seeing a lot of growth at your company.
And that growth is truly indicative of employers in the community, even hospitals. Major hospital in Shelbyville, Indiana is also now a participant in the program. So every industry, we're having the similar results, and it's a call to the community to help join us in addressing one of Indiana's greatest crises.
All right, well, Todd and Rachel, thank you both for being here today, and good luck as you move forward and with the partnership.
Thank you.
Gary, back to you.
All right, Kylie, thank you. Well, still ahead for many basketball fans, the Indiana-Kentucky High School All-Star Game is a yearly can't-miss rivalry featuring the best players from both states. The new game director has a new vision for the game, and you'll find out more inside Indiana Sports. But first, in our Eye on Education segment, we head to the classrooms in Decatur Township, where they're adding new social-emotional learning approaches to the curriculum. It's making a difference in test scores, and that's coming up next. Well, the Metropolitan School District of Decatur Township has added new social-emotional learning programs to help students of all ages develop deeper relationships, greater understanding of social and emotional education. Now, the district is integrating 2 strategies designed to drastically improve school climate, as well as students' mental health, social skills, and overall academic achievement. In our Eye on Education segment this week, joining us now from the district to explain how the process works, our media specialist, Dina Beecher, and also school safety specialist, Chase Lyday, and welcome to the program.
Thanks, dear.
Well, let's talk about this social and emotional learning. It's brand new in Decatur Township, but you're really integrating it into the curriculum. What's the whole idea behind it?
Yeah, for a long time in Decatur Township, we've done a good job of educating students and creating high-level academic performers. Something that we're trending towards and something that education in general is trending toward is building the whole child, because an employer might hire someone with a good GPA. They also want someone who can manage conflict and deal with people and be healthy in those decisions.
How does this? How do these programs at both the grade school level and the high school level? How do you integrate them in the curriculum? How does it work?
Yeah, we have homeroom every morning in all of our schools where the same teacher can develop a relationship with a student, have some of the conversations that get a little deeper than just the surface level academic conversations, and so we integrate social emotional learning in that space.
Yeah, Dina, and you're in charge of the high school component, I believe, of the program. And this really gets to a big issue, I think, that I hear employers talk about all the time, and something that's lacking in young people many times is the soft skills that sound so simple and so basic, but aren't found as frequently as they should be.
I agree. Soft skills are so very important to again, talking about the whole child. I have said often that there are days when I probably won't do a quadratic equation. Tomorrow I will not do one, but however, I will show up and I will be on time, and I will avoid conflict, I will work well with others, and I will learn how to do that quadratic equation. So I think those are where the soft skills come into play. So I really believe that if we can weave those into our core content, that our students will be much more successful.
Early on, because you just launched this this year, what's been the reaction at the high school level to the students? Do you sense it's getting through to the students?
I do. The conversations are not always easy, and the way we integrate it is into our college and career readiness course, which every student takes every day, 5 days a week. They meet with the same teacher for 4 years. And that course is designed to help students develop attitudes and dispositions to be successful in the world before and after graduation. And so we have taken a day to incorporate the social and emotional learning through a platform called Newsela. And so that enables us, using that platform, to continue to help students with academic skills, because they are actually assessed on their reading comprehension. At the same time, they're getting those social and emotional themes. We can have conversations about those articles. They're still assessed on reading comprehension, but we're also having some really hard, serious, and important conversations about those competencies.
Yep. Chase, as you look at measuring, at metrics, and how you gauge success, the softer skills can be maybe a tougher thing to kind of quantify. How do you anticipate charting success of the program?
Yeah, certainly difficult to measure. We're researching some of those opportunities now that as social emotional learning is a new concept in districts in Indiana. We're learning how to measure that better. And so it's hard to quantify someone's resiliency or their ability to manage conflict. So we're exploring those tools and hoping to have some answers by next year.
We'll have you back and talk about progress maybe next year. Chase Lyday and also Dina Beecher from Decatur Township Schools Social and Emotional Learning Program integrated into the curriculum. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, an Indiana sports staple since 1940 has a new leader who brings Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame credentials to the job. Bill Benner has more in this week's Inside Indiana Sports. Bill.
Gary, thanks. Well, the rosters have been announced, and soon we will learn who has the coveted titles of Indiana Mr. and Miss Basketball for June's annual Indiana-Kentucky All-Star Games. But can the series that once played before sellout crowds endure in an evolving summer basketball environment? Well, that is certainly the intent of the new director, Mike Broughton, lifelong Hoosier and coach of the 1993 Jeffersonville Boys State Champions. And we welcome Mike to the program, and it's great to have you on. You were the athletic director at Jennings County. You were planning to retire. You built a retirement home, and then all of a sudden you're the all-star director. How did this all come about, Mike?
Well, the IBCA came to me in October and asked me if I'd want to get involved. And there's too much tradition in this game. Charlie Hall did a great job for 10 years to bring it back. and I want to continue, and tradition means a lot to me as I've been involved in basketball all my life.
Well, you said 93 state champion with Jeffersonville. You were the All-Star coach in 1996.
Yes, and it was funny, those kids, we split the games, but they became lifelong friends. There's a lot more to this game than just the winning and losing, and that's the friendships that are involved when you bring the best of the best to play in these games.
Well, and in Indiana particularly, this still remains a big deal. Being named to the All-Star game, and as soon we will learn on, I think it's May 5th, who wears the coveted titles of Mr. and Miss Basketball. I mean, that's a big deal.
Well, I traveled 7,000 miles this year. When you go into any high school, and I even went to high schools I've never been involved in the past, and you'll see those jerseys hanging up in every trophy case or in the gym, or there's some recognition of the Indiana All-Stars. It's the greatest honor you can get as an Indiana high school basketball player.
And it means something still, to me anyway, as a Hoosier, I mean, to beat Kentucky.
It does, and I've told the coaches I want them to have fun. I want it to be an enjoyable experience, and like I told the Kentucky director today, we want to sweep you. So that is part of it. That's part of the winning and losing, and it's the last chance for these high school kids to be high school kids before the colleges swoop them up and they head in that direction for the next 4 years.
Games in Kentucky on Friday, June 7th at Bellarmine, and then they come to Bankers Life on June 8th. And I know you want to really kind of pump up the in-game environment for Bankers Life.
Yeah, we've decided the Bankers Life, the Pacers, the people involved have really been helpful this year, and we're going to try to make it a great experience for the youth and the younger people, because the game's going to survive for hopefully another 80 years if we can get the young people involved. So it's going to be fan-friendly. It's going to have a Pacer atmosphere to it. And we just really hope that people come out and buy tickets. We have 2 players going to IU in the men's and 2 going to the IU on the women's side and 2 going to Purdue in the men's. So there's a lot of Indiana colleges involved and a lot of Division I players.
As you put in those 7,000 miles, what kind of feedback do you get? Do you get a sense of shared enthusiasm for making the game last for a long time?
Well, I do, and the crowd's a little older like me that want to stay involved. But, you know, I called each All-Star, and I talked to them 5 or 6 minutes about the importance the game meant to me and how I expected them to act. And, you know, every kid that I called this year, it's a great group of kids, and they go, we are so excited to be part of this. We want to be part. We want to beat Kentucky, and they have friendships. So I think we can bring it back, but it's going to be one ticket and maybe drive into all parts of the state to get people involved.
Well, and as we wrap up, tickets are on sale at the Fieldhouse?
Yeah, we have them on sale starting April 15th, and we'd love for people to come out. And if anybody wants to help sponsor the team or sponsor any part of the game, I would love to hear from them.
Well, Mike Broughton, we certainly appreciate the fact that you're giving up your retirement to keep the All-Star games going. Gary, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. Well, coming up, leadership from KSM Location Advisors here to talk about big economic development projects and issues making headlines. There they are in the Inside Indiana Business Social Media Lounge, presented by Star Commercial Banking, Indiana born for Indiana business. Well, the Indiana Pacers and Capital Improvement Board recently reached a deal to keep the Pacers and Fever in town for the long term. Governor Holcomb signs a hate crimes bill, and there were more retail closures in the U.S. through the first week of April, year to date this year, than all of last year. Amazing statistic there. We have a lot to talk about in the world of economic development in Indiana, and for insight on these topics and more, let's turn to national site selection firm KSM Location Advisors CEO Tim Cook and President Katie Culp. And welcome back.
Thanks, Gary.
As always, we begin with the Pacers deal. I call it the Pacers deal, but the Fever are involved, and it involves major renovations to Bankers Life Fieldhouse. A big number, talk of in total over 25 years, including operation, $800 million. At the end of the day, your take on this, on getting this deal done?
Oh, I think it's great. I mean, this is part and parcel of our reputation and our economy. And can you imagine what would happen if we didn't continually reinvest?
There's some who make the argument, is the investment, is there a return on investment? And from a dollars and cents standpoint, but then there's also, in addition to that, there is that quality of life, quality of place the the image as a professional city that has some economic impact as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Pacer deal, it's not a jobs deal. It's about what does this give to the broader community. I know with this project, they're talking about some amenities within that area that could potentially have some impact, not just around that immediate area, but as you get to the east side. So to Katie's point, though, you can't lose the Pacers.
Yep. As you look at challenges facing cities like Indianapolis, but others around the country, I mentioned that statistic through the first week of April, year to date, this year, 2019, more retail closures in the U.S. than all of last year. That's an amazing statistic.
Yeah, the times they are changing, I mean, and these are really difficult problems for cities and states everywhere to grapple with because these are big spaces. And how do you redevelop that with people working remotely? I mean, it's not an easy backfill with office. The city's doing some cool things to try to address it.
Yeah, I think if you look at what Mayor Hogsett and his administration have done, they've made Castleton a priority, Lafayette Square. They're doing the right things because the reality is different now. Retail is not where it was even 5 years ago. It's going to continue to change, and we've got to be proactive on it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch that evolve in the coming months and years. Governor Holcomb has signed a hate crimes bill going into this session of the legislature. That was expected to be a hot button issue. It was. The bill was signed. Republican supporters of the bill claimed victory. Others don't go quite as far, don't think it went far enough to really make a statement.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's a bit of a hollow victory. We have such a thriving business climate that it's so unfortunate to have this legacy of perceived intolerance following us around.
Yeah, and Governor Holcomb deserves a lot of credit. I don't think
Absolutely.
anything gets passed if he doesn't take that leadership role.
Yes.
But to Katie's point, it was a missed opportunity. If you look at, let's say I'm a CEO of a company in Austin, I'm looking in Indianapolis, I might have preconceived notions about what this culture is. What I saw the last 3 months, it probably doesn't change my viewpoint. We've really got to change some of these cultural cues that we're sending to companies. Getting off a list is fine, but it's a bigger problem than that.
Another big issue in the state, obviously, is workforce development and getting that trained workforce. The bill working making its way through the State House has really been beefed up with funding at the state level.
Yeah, so, and again, this is a credit to Governor Holcomb. Next level jobs, this has been an issue he's passionate about and has worked hard towards. They've doubled the funding for that program, which is great news. The legislature seems to be very focused on workforce development now and real focused on certifications and that type of thing, which is good, but some of the programs like the IEDC's Skills Enhancement Fund have been under attack.
Yeah, you've got to remove some of those constraints so that companies can use the money and they're not just trying to go through some bureaucratic maze to get access to those funds.
How, Tim, when you look at workforce training and these, it's such a big issue, but from an economic development standpoint, put it in perspective how important these training, having these training programs and venues and avenues in place, how important it is.
They're critical, and it goes across every industry. We have it with our tech clients, we have it with our industrial clients. Any industry that's trying to fill a void, whether it's locally trying to find those people or trying to import talent, they have some programs that are working very, very effectively, but we've got to make sure we don't disable what makes them so effective.
That'll be an issue we'll be talking about for a long time. Katie Culp and Tim Cook, thanks for some great perspective on some of the top issues in the state.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
And I'll be right back after this. Stay with us. Well, as we wrap up this week, a reminder to subscribe to the Inside Indiana Business TV podcast. It's a condensed version of the show, perfect for the ride to work, the airport, or perhaps that grind on the treadmill. The IIB podcast is free. Just search for Inside Indiana Business at your podcast page or follow the links on our social media pages and website. Coming up next week, Women in High Tech has $20,000 in scholarships to award women to encourage them to study STEM right here in Indiana. Plus, GoPuff, the first digital on-demand convenience delivery service, has you covered in more than 70 U.S. locations. We'll tell you that story too. Thanks for joining us this week. I'm Gary Dick. Go out and make it a successful week.
Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick is a production of Grow Indiana Media Ventures, with support from WFYI Productions.